So Quincy is very similar to Kaylee, a beautiful, delightful, joyful little girl who just really just exudes love and happiness and joy. What you don't see on the outside when she's walking in the streets and everyone's waving to her, and she's now waving back, thank you to the novel therapeutic of an ASO, what you don't see is the challenges that she lives with every day. And what we were able to accomplish by advancing an ASO into a clinical trial, and I should probably stop and just disclose, I'm speaking only on behalf of my daughter's experience. I'm speaking only on behalf of our lived experience, not on behalf of the foundation, and not on behalf of any company that's developing ASOs like Ultragenyx. But I'm very lucky to have been given an opportunity when we applied to be in this clinical trial that my daughter qualified with the inclusion criteria to participate. And our children are 100% nonverbal. Quincy has the worst type of Angelman syndrome, which is a deletion similar to Tom. And they generally don't speak a single word in their entire life. If you can only imagine how devastating that is. They have a hard time walking. They can't live independently. They need 24-hour care with adults. The leading cause of death in Angelman is actually, it's not degenerative. It is not Angelman syndrome. It's actually, it's either seizures at night, which is uncommon, or it's actually accidents, because our kids are obsessed with water, like a lot of kids with autism. And they jump into a pool, but they can't coordinate their body and swim. And so parents like me are afraid to build a pool for their child because they're afraid they're gonna wake up in the morning and their kid will be floating in it. Yeah. And the greatest thing that we have seen for Quincy are three. One is that Quincy is a completely independent swimmer. She can jump in a pool. She can swim to the bottom of that pool and pick up a toy with no floaty. She can boogie board in an ocean. And she lives in a pool with zero fear that she's gonna drown, which leads us to actually not have to be in the pool with her. And that is quality of life that you can't even understand. And second to that is that Quincy actually has 27 words with her mouth. She has 250 words with her iPad, but the most important word she has is the word help. And the reason for that is because the biggest fear a parent has, like us, is that when we're no longer here and we can't take care of every need of our child, who is gonna help them when somebody is taking advantage of them? And that is a real fear we have if she lives a single day longer than me. And the fact that Quincy can say help means that her life is going to be better and she's gonna be safer. And when she developed that word, that was what defined success for me.
Mike, what you have done with FAST, what you all have put together is simply amazing, and it's the envy, I think, of parent groups everywhere. Part of what you do is use this hybrid strategy. It's partially nonprofit, partially for-profit. Explain.
Yeah, so in 2017, the FAST team approached me, led by Allyson. They had a vision of how they could take the sort of tools and assets they had as effectively a sort of family, parent-led organization, really funded with donor dollars, and how they could cross what is often a kind of a valley of death or a chasm to get from that point to getting a drug into a phase 1/2 trial. And they had a very clear vision of how they would do that. And it was really, utilizing, the capitalist system that we've all benefited from. And so how could we take venture dollars cross that chasm and hopefully get to a flywheel point, which thankfully we're now at, where we can take the outcome of that first program, which was in the very capable hands of Emil and the team of Ultragenyx, and that partnership has been wonderful to help act as a proof point, I would say, to see what we can do with the rest of the IP we have. And so, the model may be best described almost as a sort of philanthropic venture studio. So we're not in the mode of writing checks to other companies. We're very much about executing ourselves. And so at the moment we have a portfolio of 4 programs. We have a operations execution company called AS2 Bio, which is led by a fantastically capable team. Allyson, Jennifer who's in the audience, and a very strong executive team at FAST as well. And that team, taking their experience from genetics, are able to apply that into these other programs and ultimately, hopefully get more and more of these programs to market and get that flywheel going. And so I think the combination of outside capital with the IP that FAST had as a research organization is really proving its worth.
Is it almost like venture capital, but with this not-for-profit sort of bent?
I would say,
nonprofit?
yeah, there's two elements that are different. Definitely the not-for-profit piece is an important part, and I think one of the things that we've sort of developed and learned, and absolutely would be happy to share with other parent organizations, is a really strong governance model. So in the sort of world of rare, you tend to have a smallish group of people who get involved in boards, who can also fund these things, who can also sort of get involved in the execution. So that governance model has taken a long time to get in place to ensure things like conflicts of interest and all the rest of it are properly managed. But I think more importantly is the execution element of it. We have a team that, just as I would say compounding in finance leads to great returns, there is compounding in execution as well. And everything that team learned in their prior careers through the genetics program and are now bringing into these new programs around dealing with manufacturers, dealing with CROs, how to hire incredible teams, that to me is unique. That's the sort of thing that's a little bit different from, let's just say, a pure venture model where you're effectively writing checks to different teams. We have one execution team running all 4 programs, and that makes a huge difference when it comes to de-risking these things, making them investable, minimizing risk as much as we can.